Hi, I'm Miss Marcia, back for the month of June with an artist, Amedeo Modigliani, and I have another very famous artist with me, Emma. She's home from college, and she's always helped me in the past with some of the art programs, and she's helping me today also. She's going to be working on her Modigliani as I talk to you, and she'll explain to you how we are doing it and the result we hope to get. Anyhow, Modigliani was an Italian painter. And what he's best known for is painting figures with long faces, long slender necks, and maybe just up to their shoulder area. Some of his inspiration came from masks, specifically African masks. And I just have a quick drawing here of a basic Modigliani face. And you can see when you look at it that it almost looks like a mask. He was also a sculptor, and an interesting thing about him was he was never very successful in his life, and when he did his sculpture he couldn't afford marble and he couldn't afford bronze. So what he used to do was, if there was a construction site near him, he would take some of the stone from the construction site and he would use that for his sculptures. And people discovered it because they realized that the things he was making were very similar to the steps of the building next door or other construction areas around him. And Modigliani made thousands and thousands of paintings and drawings during his lifetime, but sadly, not a lot of them are left. He moved around a lot. He gave a lot to friends and to family, and people didn't necessarily keep them. Again, he wasn't very well received when he was an artist. His notoriety came after he died, and since the time that he died, there have been 9 books, a play, a documentary, and 3 movies made about him. He was also a very busy man with sculpting. Did a lot of sculptures, and not many of them remain either, which is, again, too bad. But because he moved around a lot and gave a lot of his things away, that's how things disappear. And aside from making his people with long faces and long slim necks, and then sort of up to the top of their chest area, he wasn't too interested in making a background look like something. As long as it was a background and it was functional, that was fine with him. And his backgrounds tended to be a little bit on the darker side. And the faces that he made tend to sort of have this ruddy complexion. They weren't realistic looking, but they were interesting. Lots of times the eyes were just painted as solid eyes, no pupil, no eyelid, no anything. So again, his people always looked a little bit sad. His heads were sort of to one side, and that was how Modigliani painted. He painted in the late 1800s to the early 1900s, so it was quite a while ago. And it's interesting to think that somebody painted that long ago in this style. You would think that they would be painting in a very old-fashioned style because it was quite a few years ago. It's also rumored that one of his shows was closed down because of his style, because they just really didn't like it. But luckily for us, people did start to accept him for who he was and show some of his work, and thus we're able to see the Modigliani works that we presently see in museums. And when we did our project, we discovered that one sheet of paper really wasn't long enough. So Emma can pick hers up. She'll show you what we did, but we really needed to attach 2 pieces of paper together. We needed to not only stretch out the drawing, we needed to stretch out the paper. Okay, and now it's Emma's turn to tell us how we're making our Modigliani painting.
Yeah, so first what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to draw your person out in pencil. So we drew ours before we started recording, so we drew her out in pencil. Ours, we were modeling it after actually one of his paintings, which is right over here. So we drew it in pencil. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to go over it in Sharpie, just because we're going to be painting the people in the background in. So you want to make sure that you have really solid lines and that you're going to be able to tell what's what when you paint it. So then once you draw all the features, you go over it in Sharpie, you're going to paint it. And now we have our own little paints here. So you can pick your color for the background. Like my grandma said, he liked to use a lot of darker colors for the background. So let's see, for the background I might use a dark blue. So I'll take some blue, you have to make it nice and wet. So I'll take some blue and I can do a little of that. And then maybe for the hair, I want to use a brown, so I'll do some brown for the hair. And we're not going to paint the whole thing in, but you definitely will. So we'll have some brown, and then you can do the face, the eyes. You can choose your colors that you like. So maybe I'll do the eyes green. Let's see. And basically, so I won't do all of it, but you're going to slowly start filling in your painting. You can paint the whole area. Again, we're just going to do a little bit. But yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, another thing that you'll notice with the Modigliani paintings, the facial features, the eyes are quite high and the mouth is quite low, and he used the nose to fill in the space in between the eyes and the mouth. So the proportions are off, they're just a little bit off, and again, I think that gives it a little bit of an intrigue. So what we'll do is we'll drop off some things at the library that you might like. One is just a bio about Modigliani, just if you want to read a little bit more about him. And I'll also drop off some fancier paper so that when you're making the clothes, if you don't want to paint them or color them, you can just cut them out of the paper. And I'm going to give you darker shades, which is more his style, and you can make the clothes out of the paper. So in closing, we hope you enjoyed Modigliani, the Italian artist, who again painted these long faces, long necks. That was his claim to fame. And we're both looking forward to seeing you in person in July, which is really very exciting for us. And we'll be at the library, so that'll be very nice, starting at July 6th. And that's it. So we hope you enjoyed Modigliani. We hope you've enjoyed all the artists, and you'll continue to look at paintings and become more art literate as the days go on. So take care, stay well as usual, and we'll see you soon. Bye.